But I'm very proud to announce these two new DVDs pre-sale. Trader Checklist Part 2 and Penny Stocking Framework Part 2. Just $2.97 and $3.97. They will both be done this summer. So in a few weeks, I'm working on both of them right now. If you've seen my Trader Checklist guide, it's 11 hours. This is going to be an extra 9 hours, maybe even an extra 10 hours by the time I finish. And Penny Stocking Framework is going to be 12, maybe even 13 hours, going over the 7-step framework that is really working, and a lot of people have asked me to update it, so that's what I'm doing. I'll include an intro into what more of these guides are later on in this video. Just want you to be aware that they are 50% off during this pre-sale, during my birthday sale, and this will not last. So check out both of these guides, and I'm excited to give you more rules, more examples, and updating some of the rules that I created a few years ago. I think this is going to be really helpful for you. Check it out. Hey, Tim Sykes, millionaire mentor and trader here, proud to present my newest guide, Penny Stocking Framework Part 2. This was one of my, I think, most important guides, but it's also a few years old, and some things have changed since the original Penny Stocking Framework came out. So I'm here to update it with this new guide. What is Penny Stocking Framework Part 2? Well, first of all, I have to mention that this is a 50% off pre-sale for just $3.97. This will regularly retail when I'm done with it this summer for $800. So right now you have the opportunity to lock in 50% off the regular price. It's going to be 12 hours of educational lessons. And I have to put a little disclaimer right here, as I do lately with all my guides. Even though I say 12 hours, it might end up being 13 or 14 or even 15 hours. I can't help myself. I'm not trying to limit this to a specific number. I have an idea. I have a structure and a framework of what I want to do with this guide. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold back information to try to fit it specifically into 12 hours. So I will say it is a minimum of 12 hours. It might be 13, 14, or 15 when I'm done with it. We will see. But basically, this is an update of the initial Penny Stocking 7-step framework, which I unveiled a few years ago at one of my conferences. I'm also going to tell you about the history of the evolution of this 7-step framework, which to the most part, really works well still. It's kind of crazy, but there have been a few changes and it's evolved a little bit. So I'll go over that for several hours. You need to understand, not just memorize, okay? I'm not trying to create any student who just memorizes patterns. That does not make you into a millionaire. My latest success story, Stephen Dux, who's made nearly $1 million, he learned the techniques. He learned the thinking behind these patterns so that he could adapt to the variations, and he's done very well. So I want you thinking like that too. Just to give you an example, here's one chart, ZENO, which has fit this 7-step framework to a T. Like, there's no variation on this one, which is kind of crazy. If you've seen my initial Penny Stocking Framework guide, this is a 1-month chart, and it is nearly perfect. And, I missed some opportunities, but I did make nearly 25% on one opportunity in just a few hours, and I underestimated it. It actually was a 50% winner on this bounce right here. If you've seen my initial Penny Stocking Framework guide, you know this is a classic number 5 pattern. And this might not look big on the chart, but this is a 50% bounce. So pretty cool that it still works. Just one example. We have many examples, and I'll go over all of them. But, I want you to understand that this 7-step framework, crazy enough, still works. I'm also going to be reviewing the basics of buying and shorting using the 7-step framework. A lot of people have seemed to forget the very absolute basics. So if you know nothing about penny stocks, if you know nothing about trading, there's going to be a chapter on that in this guide. So I think that's going to be very beneficial. I'm also going to be talking about lessons from recent successes and failures in the market with stock trades, and successes and failures with students too. I think that you can learn a lot from what people are doing right and wrong. And, this is my 10-year anniversary now as a teacher, so I've had a lot of students. I've had a lot of students come and go. I see what the right things to do are, and I see what the wrong things to do are. So this penny stocking framework part 2 guide is going to bring a little bit of the basics, but also merge a little more advanced material, and it's going to bring everything current. That's what I'm most excited for. And I'm also going to be showing you live trades using the 7-step framework so that you can start to see how I plug in my numbers 1 through 7 at various times in the chart and how I utilize that information in making real-time decisions with my money, live, long trades, short trades. The beautiful thing about this framework is that you can go both ways, and it's not necessarily, over the course of a month like that chart on ZENO. You can actually use the 7-step framework with different time frames too, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So this will be ready in a few weeks. Again, I'm not going to put any deadline, but you can expect this during the summer of 2017. Right now, you can save 50% off the pre-sale during my birthday sale also for just $397. Enjoy it, take advantage, and I got to get back to work making it. Thank you. Hey, Tim Sykes, millionaire mentor and trader here, and I am proud to announce my latest guide, Trader Checklist Part 2. You might have seen my first Trader Checklist guide. It is 11 hours. If you go to traderchecklist.com, you can still see all of it. But Part 2 is going to take those 11 hours to a little more advanced concepts and much more reliable and, frankly, more current techniques that I've been using to find the hottest stocks. Let me just go over what this new guide is all about. First of all, I haven't even finished it. It's going to be roughly 9 hours. Probably my guess is I'm going to go above that because that's just what I do. But my goal is to do 9 additional hours of educational lessons. So far, I've already done about 5. I think it would be fair to say it might even be 10 hours. It might even go to 11. I don't know. I don't try to just stop the information when I'm like, well, I said it had to be 9 hours. I'm going to let it keep going, just like I did with my How to Make Millions DVD, which eventually grew to 35 hours. This will not grow to 35 hours. I promise you that. But roughly 9, 10, maybe even 11 extra hours of educational lessons. And for right now, during the pre-sale, it is 50% off, just $297. You lock in this price. After we finally release it in a couple of weeks, it's going to be regularly $600. So this is your chance to save money. All of the proceeds will go to charity. I love doing this with my guides, and my best-selling guides all go to charity. So this will go all to charity. And in case you didn't realize, I am building schools all around the world. We now have 35 schools built or in development with the Timothy Sykes Foundation, my charity foundation. And I'm also expanding a little bit into building hospitals, helping some medical charities, and we're also building a soccer stadium in Cambodia, one of the biggest, and it's going to be very interesting. So I love working on my charity, and I love making these guides. Specifically, all of the money goes to charity. I don't make a dime off it. I don't want you to think that I'm making this just for the sake of making a guide, but I see some opportunity to teach you guys some really useful lessons, like how to build a proper watch list, what catalysts are most reliable and current right now in this current market. And if you've seen my first 11 hours of the Trader Checklist Guide, I didn't talk about short selling at all. Planning short selling trades is very, very complicated because you have to actually borrow the shares ahead of time, and you have to think about what that means before you risk your hard-earned money. When you're buying and selling, you can just get out of any trade at any time. When you're borrowing shorts and trying to locate shorts, it adds an extra layer of complexity. So I didn't include that in the initial Trader Checklist Guide. In Trader Checklist Part 2, I will be going over this. And even if you are not a short seller, let's say you never shorted in your life, you don't plan on short selling, it's good to know how to plan shorts. It's good to know how short sellers think so that you can try to understand, when there might be a short squeeze, like these stocks that attract a whole bunch of shorts and the shorts get stuck and then the stock becomes the strongest stock in the entire market. I know there's a lot of people who say, hey, Tim, never buy any fundamentally flawed company, only invest in good quality companies. Well, guess what? Sometimes when you uncover a short squeeze, some of the worst fundamentally flawed companies become the best performing stocks. And it's very frustrating for shorts, and it's very confusing for value investors, but it happens again and again and again, especially in the past 1 to 2 years, where I have actually flipped from being primarily a short seller to being primarily a long base trader, because that's the market. So I don't really talk about short selling a lot, but in this guide, I'm going to detail it, and it's good for you to know the opposite side. For some of you guys who say, oh, I'm never going to short sell, maybe it's good to know your enemy. However you want to look at it, this is what I'm going to teach because it wasn't in the initial guide. Also, I have a very exciting chapter on this about how to grow your account exponentially over time. And a lot of you guys think that it's impossible, but as more and more of my millionaire students are proving, it is possible. And there's a very specific strategy that you need to embrace. And it's not the most obvious, it's not the easiest, but it is the most effective. And I have a specific chapter in this guide on how to do that. And you're going to want to see that. And also, I'm including several live trades where you can see how I plan a trade from start to finish, how I'm sometimes increasing my position, sometimes decreasing my position, sometimes exiting the entire position when the variables change. And in case you don't remember, Trader Checklist goes over numerically and grades every single trade so that you can see the numbers, adjusting in real time. And sometimes you do have to adjust even when you're in the trade to have the best odds of success for that trade. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that with several live trades. So this is going to be very, very useful. I'm answering a whole bunch of people's questions with this guide. And again, for just the next few weeks, it's going to be $297 during my birthday sale and during this pre-sale. So I suggest you pick it up because you're saving money. It's going to be an amazing guide. All of the proceeds go to charity. So you're also helping people in the third world. So you're learning, you're helping others, and you're getting better and you're getting wiser. So it's a perfect trifecta.